This video is for cleaning any single action revolvers. I'm going to be using my Chiappa 22. Now if you don't know, single action revolvers means you have to pull this back and then shoot it, and then pull it back, shoot it, pull it back, shoot it. There's no pulling it back, shooting it, and then having the hammer continue to engage. So first thing you want to do is make sure that this is not loaded. You want to open the gate and pull it back halfway. You'll hear it click. Next, look down the cylinder. Make sure nothing is in there. To take the cylinder out, you want to press this button and pull this pin out. Mine's a little sticky because I shot a lot of rounds through this gun. Now you can go ahead and go further by taking these screws out, and the hammer will come out, the trigger will come out, but I'm not going to be doing that today. There's a little bushing that's inside your cylinder. You want to make sure that you don't lose this, because this is what the guide rod goes through and holds the cylinder together. For the cylinder, since there's 6 shots, it can be a little confusing on which one you started on. So I like to start up at the top and work my way around clockwise. We're going to be pushing a guide rod through. And I'll do that about 2-3 times. Okay. Now I'm going to be using a mop and pushing some cleaner through the cylinder. Now this is just where the shells are going to sit in the back of this. So it's not rifled or anything, so it's just pretty much smooth holes. Spray that down. Now we're going to be pushing a mop through it. Let's go ahead and push some patches through it. You get all that carbon out. Again, this is where the shell will sit. So we want to make sure there's no obstructions where it sits and inside the cylinder. Okay, I just pushed some patches down through there. Let's go ahead and clean up around the cylinder. There's a lot of carbon back here where the revolver wheel is. So we might have to pick at some of this carbon. And as you can see, I'm still pulling carbon off. I see some buildup carbon around here. flip it around and do the other side. The other side has these grooves. You want to make sure these are clean, as it will sit in the revolver. There is a little pin right here. Let me see if I can get focus. Right here. That's where that gear is going to catch, and that's what spins the cylinder around. So you want to make sure that this is free of any obstructions. Make sure that this is carbon free. Now the back of the cylinder is going to be the dirtiest, as your casing sits right there. That hammer will strike, and this is where the explosion happens. What I'm doing now is getting in these grooves, making sure I get all of that carbon out. Time to spray it down and run a patch over it again. Okay. Now we are going to be cleaning up the outside of the cylinder. I like to put my thumb on where I started. Now for where the bushing housing is, I'll use a Q-tip. Make sure you get it around it really good. Okay, so the cylinder is all clean and shiny. We'll go ahead and set this aside. Let's get this little bushing. For this bushing, you just wipe it down. Make sure you get the inside of the bushing where that rod goes really good. There's nothing really too special about this. You want to make sure that you get in this little lip really good. And I'm just pushing my fingernail into that little lip. Okay, now it's all clean. We'll run a Q-tip down the middle. Sorry for any of the background noise. I'm doing this in my basement and there's water pipes above me. Bushing is complete. Let's do the little rod. Same thing, just make sure you clean it really good. The rod is now complete. Let's move on to the actual revolver itself. So the revolver, as you can see, it is extremely dirty. For the revolver itself, we will wipe down the whole outside, the housing of the cylinder, the barrel. You want to make sure that your grips are nice and good to go, and push a guide rod through. I think I may have found a solution for my rod. It is too thick and it won't go down the barrel past this lip. So I found a bent kind of cleaning bore snake almost, but all we need is like a few inches. So we will go ahead and try this out. Okay, so after struggling a little bit on getting this in the barrel, it is clean. Now I need to send a mop down it. And I did lubricate this off camera. Now we will focus on the end of the barrel and the beginning of the barrel. The end of the barrel is nice and clean. Since we are looking in this cylinder housing, we will go ahead and clean it. Okay, the inside of the cylinder housing is complete. Let's go ahead and wipe down the outside and we are pretty much done. I will use a rim oil wipe. Revolvers are pretty simple when it comes to cleaning because it's all open. There's nothing really hidden that you have to take off. Single action revolvers, you never want to dry fire. It will cause damage to the firing pin. And if you missed out on my last video, there is no firing pin protector. So here is the firing pin. There should be a piece of metal that comes up and blocks the firing pin whenever the hammer is down. That way it's not making direct contact onto that firing pin. See, it's already pushing it in. And this piece right here is your firing pin. So if this was loaded and there were 6 shots in the cylinder and you drop it up against the hammer, the firing pin will make contact with the shell. So in order to avoid that, you want to carry 5 rounds on you. Put the empty and line up the empty with that firing pin. That way, just in case you drop it, it won't go off. There's that gear that pushes the cylinder. So as I go to fire it, it'll push the cylinder onto the next round. So now that we disassembled it, we need to reassemble it and put some gun oil on it. The main spot that you want the gun oil on is this bushing. You don't want a whole lot, but you want enough to where it spins freely. And I'll work it in a little bit. There is nothing that catches this bushing, so it will just fall right out. So now that you have the bushing back in, put some gun oil on this rod. Same thing, you don't want a whole lot, just a few drops. In order to get the cylinder back, you want to pull the hammer back halfway again. Open up the gate. Slide the cylinder back in. And now put that pin back in. You might have to move the cylinder around a little bit to catch. And you'll see that pin protrude back out when it's good to go. Everything is moving correctly. I will drop some gun oil down here on the spring. You don't need a whole lot. Open up the gate and pull this back, and it'll get that gun oil moving around. As always, guys, thank you for watching Silver Bullet Ballistics. Like and subscribe to my channel. Let me know how I'm doing. The feedback is greatly appreciated.